everyone, welcome back to my class. This is Rumana Ali. I hope you all are doing well. In the last session we have discussed about the cycle which is termed as cardiac cycle. Now in this class I'm going to explain you about the different steps that involves in this cardiac cycle with the help of this flow chart. We have learned that cardiac cycle is one complete cycle that produces one heartbeat can be produces only if one cardiac cycle gets completed, and we know that cardiac cycle takes 0.8 seconds. One cardiac cycle takes 0.8 seconds to get completed. So here it's a pie chart that shows you the different steps that are involved in the cardiac cycle and how much time each step will take. Let us see, out of 0.8 seconds, 0.4 second is the time period in which joint diastole takes place. So what is the meaning of joint diastole? We learn when the blood enters into the atria, when the filling of atria is going to happen, at that time atria as well as ventricles, both of them are in diastolic condition. That means both of them are relaxing. So the relaxation of both atrium and ventricles can be termed as joint diastole. So when the blood is coming into the right atrium and left atrium, at that time no contraction in the atrium, no contraction in the ventricles can be seen. Both atrium and ventricle shows relaxation. That stage, that condition is called as joint diastole. So in simple words we can say that joint diastole is a step in the cardiac cycle that shows or that explains the relaxation of atrium and ventricles, and filling of the blood in the atrium takes place in this 0.4 second, that is in joint diastole state. After the joint diastole, that means after the filling of blood in the atrium, once the blood filled up, then the atrium will give that blood or will push that blood into the ventricles, right? But here also, after the blood, enough amount of blood enters into the atrium, this causes some pressure, and due to that pressure, the valves which are present, like atrioventricular valve, the valves which are present, they open. AV valves opens, and by the opening of these atrioventricular valves, the blood which is present in the atrium, it can move into the ventricle within this 0.4 seconds. But here also no contraction of atrium can be seen because both of them are in relaxation state, that is in joint diastolic condition. So once the blood enters into the atrium, the valves which are present, atrioventricular valves, they get opened by the pressure of the blood. Once the AV valves open, then the blood which is present in the atrium, it can move into the ventricle. So passive filling of the ventricle takes place. Once the valves, AV valves open, then the blood which is present in the atrium, it is pushed into the ventricle without any contraction. So whenever the blood is pushed into the ventricle from the atrium without any contraction, that type of filling is called as passive filling. Passive transport of the blood takes place. All these things are going to happen within 0.4 seconds. After this time period, within 0.1 second, atria will contract. The contraction of atrium takes place within 0.1 second, and the contraction of atrium is called as atrial systole. Whenever you heard the term systole, it means contraction, and diastole means relaxation. Atrium gets contracted and we call that stage as atrial systole. Once the contraction of atrium takes place, then due to this contraction, some amount of the blood pushed into the ventricles within 0.1 second, that too actively. Active transport of the blood takes place. As the atrium shows the contraction, we call this type of transport as active transport. The blood enters into the atrium, or after the passive transport of the blood into the ventricles, the atrium gets contracted. Due to the contraction of atrium, some volume of the blood enters into the ventricles, and we call that type of transport as active transport. This active transport takes place within 0.1 second. Now, after 0.1 second, that is after atrial systole, Now the atria gets relaxing again. Atria enters a stage called diastolic stage. That means the relaxation of atrium takes place. After the contraction, the atria gets relaxed. As soon as the blood enters into the ventricles, the valves gets closes. Atrioventricular valves are present. So these atrioventricular valves, they get closed as soon as the relaxation of atrium started. So when the atrium start relaxing, at that time these atrioventricular valves gets closed and the blood which enters into the ventricle, it shows some pressure, and due to that the ventricular contraction start. Now the contraction of ventricle is called as ventricular systole and it happens within 0.3 seconds. The blood enters into the atrium first. Here the valves are present which are in closed state. Here also semilunar valves are present. All these things we have discussed in our last session. These valves are closed now. When the blood start filling the atrium, at that time both atrium and ventricles, both of them are in relaxation. This type of relaxing state is called as joint diastole, or in the step joint diastole, both of them are in a relaxed condition, and the blood which enters into the atrium, it exerts some pressure, and due to that pressure the opening of the valve takes place. Once the valves get open, the blood which is present in the atrium, it start enter into the ventricles. So in this way the ventricles receives the blood from the atrium. Now after some amount of blood enters into the ventricles without any contraction of atrium, the atrium start contracting, and due to the contraction of atrium also some amount of blood is pushed into the ventricles. In this way each ventricle receives 130 ml of blood. Some amount of blood in the ventricles is present always. It doesn't receive that blood from the atrium. The blood which is always found in the ventricles, that amount of blood, volume of blood that is always present, that is always found in our ventricles is 60 ml. So 60 ml of the blood is always there in the ventricle. It doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't receive from our atrium. So this is a constant amount. 60 ml is a constant volume that is present in our ventricles. Then the blood which is pushed from the atrium passively and actively, by both the means, that amount, that volume of blood will be 70 ml. So in this way if you add up these volumes, it will be 130 ml. 70 ml of the blood is received from the atrium. 60 ml is always present in the ventricle. When you sum up, then it will be 130 ml. So in this way 130 ml of blood is present in each ventricle. After the atrial systole, these atrioventricular valves gets closed and then the ventricular contraction starts. The contraction of ventricle is called as ventricular systole. Within this 0.3 second, what happens? As soon as the AV valves gets closed, the blood which is present in the ventricle, it needs to move somewhere. So the blood which is present in the ventricle start moving towards the arteries which are present. The right ventricle opens into the pulmonary artery and the left ventricle opens into our aorta. In between the artery and ventricle also some valves are present which are called as semilunar valve. So now the opening of semilunar valve can be seen. These valves open and the blood which is present in the ventricles, it can be pushed into the different arteries by the opening of these valves on the contraction of ventricle. Now the blood is transferred. It is pushed into the arteries by the opening of these valves. Once the blood enters into the arteries, there is a chance for the backflow of the blood. Now to prevent the backflow of the blood, these valves gets closes and the ventricle get relaxed. The relaxation of ventricle can be seen. The ventricular systole takes only 0.3 seconds. If you see this pie chart, you can understand that most of the time atria will be in a relaxed condition. It doesn't contract for a longer period of time. Only 0.1 second is the time period for atrial systole and rest of the time 0.7 seconds it doesn't contract. It doesn't show any systolic condition. In this way all the steps of cardiac cycle can be seen that takes place within 0.8 seconds. One cardiac cycle completes within 0.8 seconds. We know that one heartbeat makes some sound, that is lub-dub sound. So when these sounds are going to produce, or why these sounds are produced, lub is the first sound that can be produced due to the closure of AV valves. When the closure of atrioventricular valves takes place, at that time we can hear a sound, that is lub. And when this semilunar valves, on the relaxation of ventricles, these semilunar valves get closed. On the closure of semilunar valves, you can hear the second sound of our heartbeat, that is dub. So the first sound is lub and the second one is dub. Both these sounds of our heartbeat are going to produce on the closure of different valves. The first sound can be produced by the closure of tricuspid and bicuspid valves, which are nothing but atrioventricular valves. And then the dub is the second sound of our heartbeat that is going to produce on the closure of semilunar valves. And we know that semilunar valves are present in between the ventricles and arteries. As soon as the ventricle gets relaxes, these semilunar valves get closed. So on the closure of these semilunar valves, you can hear the sound dub. One heartbeat comprises lub-dub sound. Let us see this table to understand the duration of cardiac cycle in a better way. When you see this table, you can understand that for about 0.4 second. First 0.4 second is a time period in which both atrium and ventricle are in a relaxed state, and we call this state as joint diastole. So both of them are in a relaxed condition. Now after 0.4 second, atria start contracting. So atrium takes 0.1 second for atrial systole. When the atrium shows contraction, at that time ventricle will not show contraction. It will be in a relaxed state, and we call that state as diastole. So at the time of atrial systole, you can see the ventricular diastole. This atrial systole lasts up to 0.1 second. It will take only 0.1 second of time. Then after this time period, ventricles start contracting, and the contraction of ventricle can be termed as ventricular systole. It will initiate at 0.6 second. If you see the time of cardiac cycle, then it is 0.8 second. So at 0.6 second, ventricular contraction starts and it ends at 0.8 second. This is how the ventricular contraction and atrial contraction takes place. At the time of contraction of atrium, you can see the ventricular relaxation, and at the time of ventricular contraction, you can see the relaxation of atrium. Relaxation of atrium is called as atrial diastole, and relaxation of ventricle is called as ventricular diastole. The contraction of atrium is called as atrial systole. The contraction of ventricle is called as ventricular systole. This is how the contraction and relaxation, that means systole and diastole of all the chambers that are found in our heart takes place. Due to these contraction and relaxation only, our heart initiates heartbeat and it can complete the cardiac cycle. One cardiac cycle produces one heartbeat. So in a minute, 70 to 75 times the cardiac cycle can happen. It can complete it 70 to 75 times within a minute. So based on this, you can even calculate our cardiac output. We know that in the ventricle, 60 ml of blood is always present, and 70 ml of the blood is received from the atrium, right? So the 70 ml of the blood is the volume of the blood which is pushed from the atrium into the ventricle, and we call this volume as stroke volume. Our heart beats 72 times per minute. In a minute, 70 ml of blood is received. It is pushed into the ventricle. So if we multiply 72 times into 70, then it will be 5040 ml of blood. If you write approximately, then it will be 5000 ml. 5000 ml is equal to 5 liters. So in a minute, our atrium can be able to pump 5 liters of the blood into the ventricles, and then ventricles push that 5 liters of blood into the different arteries that takes the blood to the different organs of our body. So 5 liters of the blood is circulated throughout of our body within a minute. This is how you can calculate the cardiac output. This is called as cardiac output per minute. So how much amount of blood is circulated within a minute? 5 liters of blood can be transported throughout of our body. Let us study the last topic of this chapter, that is disorders of circulatory system. If any disturbance is going to happen in our circulatory system, then it leads to the different diseases, different disorders can be seen. Some of them are heart attack, heart failure, cardiac arrest, hypertension, CAD, angina. These are some of the disorders that can be seen in our circulatory system. If you heard the terms like heart attack, heart failure and cardiac arrest, you might think that these 3 are interchangeable terms, but it's not like that. These 3 disorders are different from each other in some or the other way. Heart attack means when you see the structure of your heart, then the heart is an organ which is made up of cardiac muscle cells. If this is one of the cardiac muscle cell, so if this cardiac muscle cell of our heart will die, then it leads to heart attack. The death of the tissues that are present in our heart or the death of the cardiac cells can be termed as heart attack. The next one is heart failure. Heart failure means we know that main function of our heart is to circulate the blood throughout of our body. If it fails to do that function, then we call that condition as heart failure. So if the heart fails to pump the blood into the different organs of our body, if it unable to do its work, if it unable to perform its function, we call that condition as heart failure. And heart failure can be caused due to many reasons. Due to the death of the tissues also, the heart will fail to perform its function. Due to blockage in the arteries also, there are so many reasons by which the heart fails to perform its own function and it leads to heart failure. So in simple words, you can write fails to pump the blood because of any reason. The next one is cardiac arrest. Arresting of the heart, not allowing the heart to show the heartbeat, to pump the blood. That is called as cardiac arrest. This has also happened due to many reasons. When the heartbeat stops, the stoppage of the heartbeat is called as cardiac arrest. When the heart stops beating, that condition is called as cardiac arrest. So cardiac arrest can be defined as the stoppage of heartbeat. The next one is hypertension. Hypertension means high blood pressure. Firstly, we'll see the normal blood pressure, then we can study about this hypertension condition. So if you see, this is a heart, the blood enters into the atrium, then into the ventricles. From the ventricles, it enters into the pulmonary artery, deoxygenated blood. But when you see the left ventricle and left atrium, then from the atrium it enters into the ventricle, and from the ventricle it enters, the blood enters into the largest artery of our body, that is aorta. So aorta is the largest artery where the blood enters from the left ventricle. The blood pushed into the aorta due to the contraction of ventricle. At that time you can see that the blood pressure will be high. Aorta is an artery and always the blood shows high pressure in the arteries when compared to the other blood vessels like veins and capillaries. So when the blood enters into the aorta, it shows the blood pressure. Blood pressure means the pressure which is exerted by the blood. Pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the blood vessels. Blood vessels means either on the walls of the arteries or on the walls of the capillaries and also on the walls of our veins. So whenever the pressure is exerted by the blood on the walls of our blood vessels, we call that as our blood pressure. When the blood enters into the aorta on the contraction of ventricle, we call that pressure as systolic pressure, because the pressure by the blood is exerted on the contraction of ventricle. So we call that pressure as systolic pressure. After the contraction, it gets relaxed. At that time, whatever the pressure is shown by the blood when it enters into the aorta, that type of pressure is called as diastolic pressure. So based on the contraction and the relaxation of the ventricle, the blood shows two types of pressures, systolic pressure and diastolic pressure. Once the blood enters into the aorta, this aorta is the biggest artery. It breaks into so many other blood vessels. Then these blood vessels, when they enter into the organs, they become more thin, and we call these type of blood vessels as blood capillaries. Then these blood capillaries join together and they give rise a blood vessel called vein. This vein goes back into the heart in order to transport deoxygenated blood. That we all know. This is a basic thing. So after the blood enters into the aorta, it is transported to the different organs of our body through blood capillaries. Then the blood from the different organs is received by the vein, and that vein gives the blood back to the heart, but in the form of deoxygenated blood. The pressure which is exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries is always high when compared to the pressure seen in our capillaries and vein. Veins are the blood vessels that always show low blood pressure. So you can write like this: BP in arteries is always high when compared to the BP in capillaries and in veins. So BP is always measured in arteries as the blood pressure is high there. If you measure the blood pressure in veins, it doesn't show appropriate pressure of our blood. We always needs to measure the blood pressure in arteries. And the systolic, normal systolic pressure is 120 mmHg. By diastolic pressure means 80 mmHg. This is our normal blood pressure, and we cannot calculate diastolic pressure individually. Always we need to measure both these pressures together. So the systolic pressure, normal systolic pressure will be 120 and diastolic pressure will be 180. 120 per 80 is the normal blood pressure of an individual. But if this blood pressure exceeds 140 and 90, then that person is suffering from high blood pressure, we can say. If the blood pressure of a person exceeds 140 and 90, systolic and diastolic pressure exceeds this range, then that person is in hypertension condition. That person is suffering from high blood pressure, we can say. This is how the disorder can be seen, and we call this disorder as hypertension. Hypertension is nothing but increase in the systolic and diastolic pressure of the blood. The next disorder is angina. It is a simple disorder, angina, where a person can suffer from chest pain. Severe chest pain is a symptom of the disorder called angina. So our heart, the main function of our heart is to circulate the blood. But if the heart doesn't receive an adequate amount of blood, then due to the reduce in the blood flow, person may suffer from chest pain, and we call this condition as angina. The next disorder is CAD. That stands for coronary artery disease. Coronary artery is a branch of aorta. Aorta is the biggest artery that carries the blood to the different organs of our body, right? It's a branch of aorta that is present near our heart. So this is our coronary artery. The blockage or the narrowing of lumen of this coronary artery takes place, then it leads to CAD. CAD is a disease which is also named as atherosclerosis. So this can be happened due to the blockage of the lumen which is present in our coronary artery. So if it gets blocked or if it gets narrow, then the blood cannot flow freely in the coronary artery. It cannot be taken up by this artery. The blood cannot be received by this artery, and this leads to a disorder called CAD. And this is happened by many reasons. One such reason is due to the deposition of some material over the walls of this coronary artery. The materials will be calcium, lipids, cholesterol or fibrous tissue. The fatty substances, if it gets deposited on the walls of this artery, then it leads to the formation of a plaque. And if the plaque is formed over the walls of this artery, then the lumen of this artery becomes narrow and the blood cannot flow freely in and out of this coronary artery. This leads to a disease and abnormality in the function of circulatory system. These are some of the disorders of our circulatory system. Here the lesson body fluids and circulation ends. I hope it's clear to you. Meet you in next class. Goodbye.